Hello, and welcome to She Leads Biotech, the podcast that celebrates the achievements of women in the bioscience space. I'm your host, Sharon Cox, CEO and Managing Director of CNA International, a boutique search firm based in New York. Each week, I have the privilege of learning from incredible leaders as they share their stories. Together, we celebrate their triumphs, explore their challenges, and uncover their vision for the future of bioscience. Our conversations also provide invaluable insights into how women can unlock their unique superpowers and succeed on their own terms. So, whether you're just starting your journey in bioscience, contemplating your next career move, or simply passionate about science and innovation, this podcast is here to empower, inspire, and guide you. After earning a bachelor's degree in microbiology and immunology and a master's in business administration, today's guest initially considered a career as a veterinarian. However, a chance temp assignment at Glaxo introduced her to the world of clinical research, sparking a passion that has driven her 30-year career in the biotech industry. In this episode, we explore her unwavering dedication to paying it forward through active support of advocacy groups and her commitment to driving meaningful impact in the healthcare space. We also discuss the inspiring mission of her company and her perspective on leadership in a dynamic and evolving field. So please welcome the CEO of Oncospire, Nathalie Riebel. Hey, Nathalie, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I've been following the show since day one.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. And now you're going to be part of it.
Right. What a privilege.
Oh, there you go. So I know I haven't seen you in a couple of years, but I know we have a little bit of history, and I've been following your career as well and your work in head and neck cancer, because I know that that's something that you've been very involved in. Where are you at with that? What can you tell me about your work with neck and head cancer?
Yeah. So I had the opportunity in my last two positions to work with cancers that had a very physical impact on people. So right. One of them was uveal melanoma, where most of the time the first thing that happens is they take out your eye. So I was very involved with and still stay in contact with that advocacy group because they're very present in the industry. And in my last biotech, I had a chance to work with head and neck cancer and met some of the people that run the advocacy groups for head and neck cancer and understood the struggles these patients go through and how they have to relearn to speak, eat, all sorts of, things that other cancers might not necessarily bring on from a physical point of view. So I've decided every year to, give my time to actually do a move-a-thon for them. And
now, I know you did one. You did one in April, didn't you?
I did. And thank you for supporting me. That was wonderful. I actually did it and happened to have a vacation planned in the middle of it and decided that I was going to cycle through the city I was vacationing in. So ditched the car and got a bike and cycled absolutely everywhere and realized that I was a little bit out of shape. But
yeah, needed a bit of a rest when you got back.
Yeah. But I ended up doing about that month 250 miles of just walking and biking, and wow. It felt great. And it felt also great to be able to raise the money for that advocacy group. And I was able to meet with them when I went to ASCO this year and really understand where the money was going and so forth.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you're all set to do it again this year?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna, train before as well, so that I can go a little further, because of course you have to, better yourself every time.
And do you can move doing anything, right? You don't have to be on a bike or anything. You do that.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll sign up to do that.
Yep, it's the Head and Neck Cancer Alliance Move-a-thon, and you can garden, you can walk, you can run, you can cycle, you can whatever just moves your body.
Walking my as far as I get. Then I'll definitely go on the website and do my bit for it.
I'll be happy to send you the link. There you go.
That's my pledge. There we go. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about what's evolved in the neck and head cancer space? Through this podcast, I'm learning so much. And I was talking to somebody about nanotechnology and the ability to put treatments that can cross the blood-brain barrier and reach those areas that have traditionally eluded being able to be hit by treatments. Is that, in your experience, is that the sort of technology that could support these of patients?
I think yes. I mean, the immediate answer is yes. I think there's a lot of great technologies, whether it's platforms. So, the nanotechnology, using these platforms to get genes, mRNA, different peptides to the tumors or to the immune system to be able to kill the tumors and help these patients. Because these patients, like I mentioned, they'll go through surgery first. If they can extract some of the, different tumors, they'll go through radiation, they'll go through chemotherapy. I mean, the whole gamut is thrown at them to try. And it's also a very, it's soft tissue. It gets damaged and it takes a long time to heal. Anything that all the new technologies that stimulate the immune system and allow the immune system to attack these tumors is going to help them and maybe reduce. I know at ASCO they were already talking about reducing the amount of radiation and the force of radiation for these patients, which again, saves a bit of their tissue.
Right. Wow. But promising future in all of these things I hear about. Very promising future.
Yes. Promising future, definitely. I started off working in breast cancer and and I mean, if I just look at the advances that have been made from then to now, I mean, the Survival rate has just tripled.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. Wonderful. So how did it all start for you? Talk me through your career. Because if I remember, you started out, you wanted to be a vet. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
So how did that transition into where you are now?
Yeah, I think during our conversations, it was the field really chose me and then just raised like a passion that I didn't know I had, because I wasn't really passionate for human medical sciences. I mean, the animals was fine, but I wasn't passionate about going into nursing or human medicine.
Right.
Necessarily. And I was working in a lab in an academic lab for quite a while. And through the lab losing its funding and personal kind of circumstances, that perfect storm that happens in life sometimes, a friend reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to take a job for a short time at Glaxo.
Okay.
So I'm dating myself because that company has gone through 2 mergers or more.
I think I worked the original Glaxo was a client of mine in the UK, probably late 80s, early
Yeah.
90s. Yes. So, okay. So that was that.
Yeah, no, well, I left the academic lab, so the university lab, and then I went there and I landed in hospital contracts and customer service. And it was just temporary, and it was interesting because I was learning about pharmaceutical products and how the whole industry works. And then I was going back to my academic lab when they asked me if I wanted to go into sales. And I thought, oh, that would be kind of cool because I have a deep passion for travel and so forth. So I went into sales for 3 years and then discovered that there was something called clinical research, which I knew nothing about, and became a CRA. And then I just fell in love with looking at patient charts, understanding how they get through the study, how the study affects them, how they enroll into the study, how we get the data, analyze the data, write the report. And it just became a true passion of mine to try to get drugs through that drug development continuum to get them to patients. So, it kind of found me because if that friend wouldn't have said, hey, why don't you come and join this company, I would still be in a university lab. So,
Or a vet.
Or a vet. Yes, because that was the second step.
Or a vet.
Yeah.
Okay. So throughout your career, has there been any one person or group of people that have been an influence in your career?
There has been, I don't think there's been one lady in particular. I met her when I first came to the US. I was working for a CRO and her company hired us and I was her project manager. She just taught me so much about the industry. She was my client, obviously, but she just had a way of teaching people how to look at research and understand drug development. And then she ended up hiring me many years later as a director of early phase at ImClone, kind of took me under her wing and became like a mentor for me. And she saw things in me that I didn't see. She actually steered me in a different direction at one point where I was head of inspection readiness for the oncology unit at Eli Lilly. And that was in quality, and I had never done quality, but she saw that I had that ability. And I stayed there and I loved it for 5 years, and it just helped educate me in so many different ways.
I would imagine that it allows you to run the whole gambit, because it's all very well you do the trials, the quality of the data, the quality of the reports, the quality of the trials is paramount to what happens in terms of it getting through approval, right?
Yes, and actually those 5 years, we got 3 products from ImClone through approval for Lilly. And I had the privilege of working with many, many regulatory inspectors during that time. And it was enlightening how they look at what research we do and, the lens that they bring to it and how the teams work. And I think what made me successful is that I had been on the other side. I understood the struggle of getting the data, monitoring the data. And then as a quality person, I could empathize with the people in clinical operations and kind of help them improve the quality of their data. So when I was there, I started a program called the Proactive Quality Inspection Readiness.
Okay.
and so that people could build the quality into their studies from the get-go instead of taking a month or two at the end to fix everything, which you can't really do.
Right. Okay. So you've been in clinical operations for quite some time now, a few years.
Yeah, 3 decades, more than I
Okay.
care to
I
think
wasn't going
about.
to go there. I was going to wait for you to do
That's
that.
okay. Yep.
So how has it changed? Has there been further involvement? So I know at one point there was very much a differentiator between clinical development and clinical operations. Is that more intertwined now than it perhaps was?
I feel it is. That's a really savvy observation on your part, because I do feel like it's more intertwined. I think the basics haven't changed. I think maybe they've gotten more cumbersome. So when I started, a patient informed consent was maybe 7 pages. The one I have sitting on my desk right now is 23. So I think the regulations, because of the complexity of drugs, how the drugs work in your body, and the need to explain that to patients has made the administrative burden, bigger. But I think also technologies have come on that make it easier to collect way more data that we never could collect before. So, we can collect things on your watch, on your phone, portable EKGs. I mean, there's all sorts of things. So we're in a world of lots of data and lots of information to triage and lots of information to interpret. So to your point, has it become more clinical development? I think the ClinOps now, because they're the cornerstone of all of the trial, they've kind of expanded their reach into cross-functionally managing, all the other disciplines. So
Right.
clinical supplies, data management, biostats. Now in big companies, because of volume, they separate that out. But in
Yeah.
biotech, the operations person, and in fact, I facilitate this forum twice a year where a group of East Coast VPs and CEOs get together and discuss kind of the trends of clinical operations and what is going on in the industry. In the last couple of years, you've seen people's titles migrate from head of clinical operations to head of drug development or head of just operations, because in a small biotech, it encompasses so much more.
Yeah, I mean that's literally what hat am I wearing today?
Yeah.
Is my data management hat on, or is it? Yeah. So, and what influence do you see AI having in the development of trials?
Oh, that's a great question. I am a techie nerd. Our industry is very traditional and conservative. We've had problems adopting new technologies as a whole. I think during COVID, it gave us a bit of a snippet of what could be possible. Although I think we regressed. We didn't quite jump on the bandwagon of making trials faster at that point. But I think AI can help a lot in just helping in research and development. I mean, there's a lot of companies that you can look through and do molecule selection much faster. I think AI also can help when you do have big data sets that you need to analyze. They could look and see maybe what the outliers are. You'll always have to have that human kind of analysis that's overlaid on it. But I think for things that biostats used to be able to program, so please extract all of the people who have had hypertension spikes during the trial, AI could do that. And that would be really useful to look at it in real time. I think it'll allow us to save time to find trends and allow the patients to be safer on these trials.
And so ultimately we'll save money, right? Because trials are becoming more and more and more expensive all the way through. So anywhere that it's cutting time, saving money, but ensuring that the quality and the data is still correct, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's the concern with AI is that, that's always my thing. It's like, oh yeah, I've just done this report. How true is it? I mean, how accurate is it? And it's believing in what you're reading, but based on fact, not just on the fact that it was spat out in 2.3 seconds or something.
Right. And I hope that it'll leak into helping patients in the sense of we're a global world now. Not all Italians live in Italy. And, so if a patient comes in and needs to understand something in their native language, can AI translate it for them on the spot? Could we use it for good applications of helping the patients understand what clinical trials are? I think it's exciting. I think we're in an exciting time, and I think we need to embrace it instead of push it away, Yeah.
So let's talk about your role. As we just discussed, you've been doing this for a while now. You've managed lots of teams in your career. What's your stance on leadership, and how do you lead your teams when you work with them?
That's a great question. So I think as a whole, I'm a pretty hands-on leader, and I think it's important to be very transparent with the team. I don't like companies where leaders withhold things because they're scared the team isn't resilient enough to hear the bad news and so forth.
Yep.
I think people stick with companies because of the other people in it and not necessarily for the company structure itself. I know for myself, I've stuck with it. I've stuck with companies in difficult places just because I loved working with my colleagues and we did amazing work together.
Right.
So I think it's an open, honest leadership. I also believe that we have to celebrate the wins. It's an industry of peaks and valleys, and it's difficult because we're not building widgets. Patients don't all react the same way, and we have to, and there is a lot of bureaucracy. So anytime we can figure out a better way to do it because we've borrowed something from another industry, or that, the team has made, 3 steps forward, I think we have to celebrate that. I think we don't get enough pats on the back, This tough love leadership doesn't build resilient teams and doesn't build teams that stay at the company, and I think trust is paramount.
And that seems to be a very old school method of leading teams that I'm seeing as I talk to more and more women. There is that change. You can still be the boss, you can still be the leader, but you don't have to be bossy and you don't have to be terrifying. You don't have to be, like the character in The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
to get things done kind of thing.
Right.
And I think more and more women are seeing that, whereas certainly earlier in my career, women who, lots of my clients who were heads of departments in things almost had a masculine way about them. It was that they had to be, we have to do it this way and it has to be this, and almost, terrifying people into compliance. But that's definitely changed in the last, I would say, decade.
I'm hoping, and what I've observed is it has, and I think, we do this job to bring medication to patients. We never have to forget that,
Yep.
We're not doing it to jump over the next person or to thwart our colleague. We're doing it to bring medication to patients. And there are a lot of good medications out there that deserve the chance to get tested to see if they work in patients. What people don't realize is their biggest asset is their team.
Yeah.
And if they don't take care of that team, we've seen how volatile people are, quietly quitting and leaving all the people that left the industry when COVID hit, to realizing that there is a work-life balance. For everybody, it's a little different, but, you have to acknowledge that. And I think the leader that motivates and empowers their team will actually get the most out of them.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. So what are you working on at the moment? Are you able to share what areas you're working on?
So I started my own company in January. I wanted to continue to bring, to help small biotechs, and even smaller than, I was working at. I wanted to work with small biotech to help them figure out how do we get in human clinical trials. And I've had a chance to have a few clients where I'm helping them to get their products into either first in human or through the animal stage to go into first in human. I've been
exciting.
Yes, it is. I love to see these new companies that have really exciting products and just need expertise to kind of help them get to that next level. They're often companies that don't have a huge amount of funds, so they might not be able to hire a full team, but it doesn't change the regulations of all the documents you need to get to that IND or to that first in human trial. So, and a lot of them that I've had a chance to work with are first-time CEOs that are women. And that's exciting to see as well.
Yep.
There was, I remember, several years back, one of the first women CEO I worked with, there was still a stigma in, women CEO and investors trusting them with the leading of a company and getting the money to lead the company. So it's nice that investors are recognizing that women can lead companies just as well as, not better than men.
And I think, that's twofold. You've got more women investors coming through
that
now,
as well. Yeah.
Which is great. And I also think that women have recognized the challenges that they're facing, and they've honed their skills around dealing with that. So there's the number of women that I've spoken to recently have talked about going for investment, and they're flat out, I know what the challenges are going to be. I know somebody is going to look at me and say, really, can we give you $100 million? I don't know. But my point is that I can show them that the asset or the product or the platform, whatever it is we're working on, this is what it's going to achieve. And to do that with that kind of authority is beginning to make steps. I think so more and more women are taking it upon themselves to recognize what the challenge is and then building the tools around them to address those challenges and get the results they want.
Absolutely. I do think, from what I see, I do think that the women that become CEOs are much more educated and in tuned with the product, the science, than maybe some of their male counterparts that can still run a company and raise money. But hopefully women will get on more boards, will get in more investment companies, and it will no longer matter what your gender is.
Let's hope that happens in our lifetime. So what does the future look like for you? What are your future plans? Where do you see the next 5 years?
I would love to continue growing this company. I mean, I would love to have like 10 employees. You know, that would be my kind of maximum. But what I want this company to look like is really a place where small biotechs can come and have skilled subject matter experts that will help them get to their next stage of development, and to not burn all their money and still get to where they need to go to be able to launch their products and so forth. And I also want to have I also built into my company a kind of, I call it pay it forward, maybe philanthropic portion of it, where anybody that works with me or for me needs to dedicate some hours to the advocacy groups in the healthcare industry, because I think these advocacy groups are often run by patients or people that have had a spouse that has either passed or has the disease, and they're instrumental in helping us rally patients or just build awareness around clinical trials. And they don't always have access to experts in clinical operations to help them build their business or reach out to more patients. So I'm adamant on dedicating time to them every month to help them also build their business and be able to reach out to patients, and for patients to be comfortable and knowledgeable about trials, whether it's for them or not.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to, there's just like coming to the US to build your business. There's great role models such as you and other women that I'm trying to emulate to kind of just get to a comfortable place where, I can meet my goal of helping these companies.
Fantastic. So we've talked about this a few times during this chat, that this kind of industry isn't really for the faint-hearted. There's lots of ups, there's lots of downs. What would your advice be to women in particular who are perhaps looking at what they'll be studying at college to come into this industry and what to expect?
So when I was going through university, we didn't have clinical research programs, and many universities now in the US and abroad have clinical research programs. So I think getting into one of those programs is a good way. But I do think that one thing that I've tried to do at every company I've been at is get interns for the summer. And I think somebody who's like in high school and doesn't know about what they want to do, or they've heard about this, they think this is, a fun industry or something that they would like to do for their career. is to seek companies, to seek small biotechs if they have summer internships. I had a chance to put together an internship program at my last company where we worked with clinical research experts, well, from the masters, from Rutgers, Masters of Science Clinical Research Management program. And we took students that were either in their second or last year to just expose them to clinical research, because there is like I mentioned, an administrative kind of mundane, boring part to it, but you need to learn it because it needs to be part of your expertise to know how to do that. So I'd love to raise awareness more about clinical research, where I do think there is more people who know what clinical research is. And, at a high school level, get people coming into biotechs as interns to understand what it is we do.
Right. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Okay, I can't believe the time. We've been jabbering away there. I thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me
of
today.
Course.
It's a pleasure seeing you. And
yes.
We'll have to get back to our regular conversations. So
that would be
you
nice.
Can keep me updated as to what's going on out there in the field. I will definitely go on the website and sign up for the Move-a-thon in April. I'm not sure how much moving they'll be doing, but I'll give it a go.
We can create a team.
Move.
We can move together.
Okay.
That would be fun.
Oh, well, because that would probably encourage me more. So I'll hold you to that.
Yes,
and
please do.
And I wish you every success with what you're doing. I'm
Thank you.
Sure that there's those biotechs. I speak to so many of them that aren't ready for my services yet, but need to get to that point where they will be. And services like yours will be a definite advantage to them. So let me spread the word to them as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
greatly appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. Same to you, Sharon. And best of luck.
Thank you. Take good care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wraps up today's episode of She Leads Biotech. I hope you enjoyed this conversation and found inspiration in the stories shared. Remember, the success of every woman can inspire another, so don't hesitate to share yours. She Leads Biotech is brought to you by CNA International USA, a woman-owned boutique search firm specializing in sourcing talent for small and emerging bioscience companies across the US, from our headquarters in New York. For more information about our services, feel free to reach out at contact@cnaint.com. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And until next time, stay bold, stay brilliant, and continue pioneering progress for women in bioscience.